So if you're operating a business in Canada and you've set up the business as a provincial corporation in one of the provinces in Canada, when do you need to do an extra provincial registration of that corporation in other provinces? Well, the answer to the question, like the answer to pretty much every question in business, is it depends. And that's what I'm going to cover in this video. So let's say, for example, you've set up a business as a British Columbia corporation. You've gone through the process of incorporating, but now your business is expanding. You're wanting to, move into Alberta, move into Saskatchewan. Maybe you're hiring employees in those provinces, or maybe you're setting up offices or things like that. So how do you know when you actually need to officially do that extra provincial registration of your corporation? Well, first off, just to be clear, an extra provincial registration of a corporation is not creating a new corporation. It's basically just taking an existing provincial corporation and extending it into another province. So when do you actually need to do this extension where you're registering that provincial corporation in another province? I'm going to use Saskatchewan and Alberta as examples and go over their Provincial Corporations Act to show you what the criteria actually is. So again, if you've set up like a BC provincial corporation, you're expanding into Alberta and you want to know whether or not you actually need to do that registration, I'm going to read off the criteria directly from Alberta's Corporations Act right now. So in Alberta's Corporations Act, section 2771, called Carrying on Business in Alberta, it says, for the purpose of this part, an extra provincial corporation carries on business in Alberta if A, its name or any name under which it carries on business is listed in the telephone directory for any part of Alberta. B, its name or any name under which it carries on business appears or is announced in any advertisement in which an address in Alberta is given for the extra provincial corporation. C, it has a resident agent or representative or a warehouse, office, or place of business in Alberta. D, it solicits business in Alberta. E, it is the owner of any estate or interest in land in Alberta. F, it is licensed or registered or required to be licensed or registered under any act of Alberta entitling it to do business. And then lastly, sections G, H, and I on a separate page. G states, it is in respect of a commercial vehicle as defined in the Traffic Safety Act, the holder of a certificate of registration under the Traffic Safety Act, unless it neither picks up nor delivers goods or passengers in Alberta. H, it is the holder of a certificate as defined in section 130 of the Traffic Safety Act, unless it neither picks up nor delivers goods or passengers in Alberta. Or I, it otherwise carries on business in Alberta. So basically for the first three there, you're having to register if you're positioning yourself as, like a resident Alberta business. If you're in their phone books, if you have offices there, representatives there, or you're publicizing that the business has an Alberta address, you're making it look like it's a registered business in Alberta, it's a resident business in Alberta, and therefore you have to do that extra provincial registration of your British Columbia corporation in this case, or whatever other province you are originally incorporated in. Now for part D, it solicits business in Alberta. This could be a bit of a gray area, but if you are, seeking business in Alberta, if you're reaching out to people, if you're advertising in Alberta, then you're soliciting business in Alberta. Whereas if you're not reaching out to people or businesses in Alberta, you're not advertising there, you're not making it look like you have an address there, you don't have employees there, anything like that, then you're not soliciting in Alberta. But if someone in Alberta still finds you online and they recognize that you are a BC corporation, then in that case, they found you without you soliciting them. So that wouldn't meet that criteria. So for section E and F, if you own property, or I should say the corporation owns property, or you are licensed or should be licensed or registered for something in Alberta, then that meets the criteria. So for example, if your corporation in BC is like a farming business and you have some farmland in Alberta, that would meet that criteria. Or for part F, if you're practicing in some, regulated profession, like you're a dentist, a massage therapist, a physiotherapist, something like that, where if you are registered with the association in Alberta, then typically this would meet that criteria. And now when it comes to the Saskatchewan example, it's very similar. I can read that off quickly as well. So for Saskatchewan, it is section 20-3 in the Corporations Act, titled Carrying on Business in Saskatchewan. And it says, for the purposes of this part, an extra provincial corporation is deemed to carry on business in Saskatchewan if, part A, its name or any name under which it carries on business is listed in a telephone directory for any part of Saskatchewan. B, its name or any name under which it carries on business appears or is announced in any advertisement in which an address in Saskatchewan is given for the extra-provincial corporation. Part C, it has a resident agent or representative or warehouse, office, or place of business in Saskatchewan. D, it solicits business in Saskatchewan. E, it holds any title or interest in land registered in the name of the corporation pursuant the Land Titles Act 2000. Part F, it is licensed or registered or required to be licensed or registered pursuant to any act entitling it to do business. And lastly, Part G, it is the holder of a certificate of registration pursuant the Traffic Safety Act, unless it neither picks up nor delivers goods or passengers in Saskatchewan. So you can see for Saskatchewan, the criteria is pretty much the same. There's one additional one there. But so if you're curious whether or not you need to actually do that extra provincial registration of your corporation, those are two examples of what Alberta and Saskatchewan are looking for in criteria. So if you're not sure if you need to extra provincially register that corporation or not, that's the criteria that Saskatchewan and Alberta look at. So if you do meet that criteria, chances are you do need to register the business in those provinces. And every province has, slightly different rules, slightly different criteria in determining whether or not you need to. But this is really good to be aware of. And also keep in mind that this is for corporations. If you're set up as a sole proprietorship or a partnership, these things don't necessarily apply to your business because this is specifically for corporations where there is a little bit more strict ruling when it comes to registering your business extra provincially. So hopefully this video was helpful. If so, please click like and feel free to check out and subscribe to my YouTube channel where I cover business management and business startup topics. Many of them are Canada specific or even Saskatchewan specific where I'm based. And if you have any questions related to this type of content, feel free just to leave a comment in the comment section below and I can answer it there or even make a new video on it if I haven't made one already.